Hi everyone, I'm Fronica and this is Aussies Do Homeschool Season, and today I'm going to be guiding you through the process of choosing a curriculum for your homeschool, so stick around. Last week we talked about how to start homeschooling. We went through the process of the application and looking up the authority that oversees homeschooling in your area. And if you want to have a look at that episode, I'm going to pop a link to that at the end of this one. Today, however, I'm going to be guiding you through the process of choosing a curriculum. Now, before I start, if you could press that subscribe button and the little bell down below, each time I drop a new video, you will be notified, which is great because each week I'm going to be popping up a new video with a step-by-step guide to homeschooling for beginners. Curriculum. The first thing you need to be mindful when choosing a curriculum is where you live. Again, it comes down to the authority that looks after homeschooling in your area. In some areas, you're going to need to follow a state or governing curriculum, and then in others, you're going to have a little bit more freedom of what you teach your children, or if you follow a curriculum at all. I really suggest that you look at your authority and see what your responsibilities and rights are when it comes to curriculum. In Australia, we have a national curriculum, but at this point, only South Australia, Western Australia, Northern Territory and New South Wales will require you to follow that curriculum when homeschooling. In all other states and territories, you are not required to follow the national curriculum. Even if you need to follow a set curriculum, you can still use the style you've chosen to homeschool. Even if you are a Charlotte Mason homeschool, you can still teach the national curriculum, but teach it in a Charlotte Mason approach. The same is true for people who don't have to follow a curriculum. Nothing's to say that you can't use the national curriculum as a guide. I tend to take out little pieces here and there of the national curriculum to help guide me through what I need to teach my children. I just use it in a different way. So here is the website for the Australian curriculum, and I'll put a link below in the description. If you go to that website, you're going to see all the different year levels and all the subjects, and you will be able to see exactly what your child would be learning in a school at any given time. What is also available are different work samples from different students in different year levels and in subjects. This is a great tool to use if you want to see what your child is sort of roughly doing. It comes in satisfactory, above satisfactory, and below satisfactory, and you can compare your child's work to see where they sit. This is a great tool to know whether your child is maybe lacking in an area and you need to spend more time, or maybe they're excelling in an area and you don't need to spend as much time and you can move on to something else. Okay, so when you discover if you actually need to follow a curriculum or not, you then need to decide whether you're going to buy a complete or partial program or whether you're going to make your own, or even if you're going to follow one at all. So some of you may be working at the same time as you're homeschooling your children, others may be time poor, maybe you're just scared, or maybe you just want an easy to follow curriculum. These are all great reasons to purchase a complete program. Now, a complete program is going to give you a step-by-step, day-by-day set of tasks that you complete with your child. Now, older students may be able to work more independently, freeing up a little bit of time for yourself. For those of you who maybe have a little bit more time or really love to prepare and organise curriculum, you may want to choose to make your own. Also, parents who maybe have an outside-of-the-box child for whatever reason. Sometimes they may need a varied curriculum, and the one that you make your own is going to be a great choice. Now, there are partial program options for parents as well. You may like the ease of having a particular subject in a partial program and then like to deviate with others. This is great for the parent who may feel a little bit uneasy teaching in a particular subject. Take math, for example. If it's not your strongest subject, you may feel uneasy teaching it to your children. You then can buy a partial program for mathematics and yet teach all the other subjects that you feel more confident in. Okay, for those of you who want to make your own curriculum, there's plenty of options out there for you as well. You have online options, You can use television, YouTube, textbooks, worksheets. The sky's the limit, or you can use a combination of all of these things to suit what your child's needs are. Now, for an example, my children for mathematics use an online program called Prodigy. They also use the Life of Fred books and worksheets. Now, my kids get very bored doing the same thing over and over again, so I find that if I mix it up throughout the week, it keeps them more engaged. Now, another thing to consider when choosing a curriculum is your child's needs. Say if your child is dyslexic, you may want to research a curriculum that is more geared towards a dyslexic student. The same is true if your child is, say, gifted or on the spectrum. A little bit of research will allow you to find a curriculum that is going to suit their particular needs better. Maybe your child finds math really easy, but then English a little bit harder. You may want to find a curriculum that is going to allow them to move as quick as they want through math, but then allow them also to slow down in the areas of English that they need a bit more help in. Using my children as an example again, both of them needed a little bit of help when it came to writing. With a bit of research, I came across a program called WriteShop, which is great for reluctant writers. Now, at the same time, my son is really quick with mathematics, so the program Prodigy allows him to move at whatever pace he likes, which means he keeps more engaged and moves forward faster. So it's really a good idea to choose a curriculum that's right for your particular child's needs, and this may mean varying it for each child. Another thing you need to consider when choosing a homeschool curriculum is your financial situation. What are you prepared to pay on a curriculum, or what can you pay on a curriculum? Now, it may be that buying a complete set actually works out cheaper than picking and choosing parts from different places, or online memberships or subscriptions. The same is true for unschooling. Now, are you the type of unschooler that takes your children on lots of different outings and these may cost memberships or entry fees? Or are you more of a home-based unschooler and this may be a cheaper option? The last thing I wanted to mention in your consideration when choosing a curriculum, and this is not by any means a complete list of the things you need to consider, but the last thing I wanted to consider was your faith. Is your faith a consideration? You can buy faith-based programs that are either complete or partial, and they will coincide with what your beliefs are. On the subject of faith-based curriculum, it is my belief that just because a particular program is or isn't faith-based doesn't mean it is or isn't going to work for your child. I've known families that are religious that choose non-religious material for their kids and get just as much out of it as families that are not religious and choose faith-based programs. For me as an eclectic homeschooler, I usually research programs that are going to benefit my child. I don't really give any consideration to whether they're of a particular faith or whether they accord to my beliefs. In saying that though, if something is extreme or way against the inner being that you are or against your faith, that could also be a consideration for you when choosing that particular curriculum. And that's okay. It all comes down to what your particular circumstances are when you're choosing a curriculum. Now remember, I've said it before and I will say it again. If something's not working, if you're fighting against a curriculum or your children are not learning the way you'd like them to, or you're finding it hard to teach, change that curriculum. I know it's hard when you use your hard-earned money to buy a curriculum and it doesn't work. You have that tendency to want to just keep pushing and pushing at it, but it's better for your children to enjoy the process because they are more likely to learn. Now, when it comes to reviews, don't take reviews as the be-all and end-all. What works for one family may or may not work for yours, or may not work for another. It's just a review. Look at as many as you want, but then also look at the program itself. Some programs will send you a chapter or a few sheets from their program, and then you can use them and get an idea of whether you resonate with that particular program and whether it works for you. Okay, so just to recap, some of the things that we need to consider when choosing a curriculum are whether you are entitled to make your own curriculum or whether you have to follow a state or national curriculum. Do you want to buy a complete set or a partial set, or do you want to make your own? Will this involve buying textbooks or purchasing memberships or programs online? And what is your financial situation? Do you buy a complete set? Is that going to be easier than picking and choosing from different areas? Have you focused on a particular need of your child? Do they need a particular curriculum to help their needs? And lastly, is your faith a consideration when you're purchasing a curriculum? Now, this is not a complete list of considerations when choosing a home curriculum, and I would love it if you could put in the comments below the things that you have considered when you've chosen your curriculum, or if you haven't chosen a curriculum yet, what are some of the things you're considering right now? Okay, so I hope you have a better understanding of some of the considerations you can use when choosing a curriculum. I really encourage you to research when it comes to curriculum, because you're going to find a lot of options out there and some are going to be better for your children than others. I also urge you to consider some of the overseas options, as the best curriculum is going to be the one that helps your child the most, and that shouldn't have a border. Okay, so next week we're going to be talking about timetabling, and we're going to take all that curriculum that you've just found and pop it into an easy to follow weekly, fortnightly or monthly program that's going to work best for you. Now remember, if you like this video and you want to see more on my channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below and the little bell so you are alerted every time I drop a new video. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next week.